Hey, curious. You know, I'm beginning to wonder something. Utah seems to be pretty much an unspoken Mormon state. Or at least that's the way everybody thinks of it outside Utah. Why shouldn't Texas be a Christian state? I mean, it's really not going to set a precedent, and it absolutely has the history for it. It always considered itself semi-independent anyway. So why not? Move the Arizona law over to Texas. Have trailer parks everywhere. The EuroAmericana dream. You know what I mean? No gay laws. Let's face it. If you're not San Francisco or Boston, some of that stuff is pretty hinky anyway. Depending on your preference, to be honest. Or your inclination, I'm sure everyone who's pro-gay is somewhat bi-curious. And it's just, and why not? You know what I mean? Let them have all the things they want. Open guns. I can't think of all the things that would make that a Ye-haw freaking, you can carry a gun in the street. Just the wild, wild west. You know what I mean? No immigration, everything. Minimal federal laws, and we'll see how it works out. Why not? Actually, it would be a really good social experiment, and probably a good pressure valve to show how things would and would not work in that kind of society. Because there might be a few things that actually did work better. But of course, with everything, it'd be a big cost to human life in one way or another. Because all restrictions on human life impact people adversely to benefit others in that restriction. I think it'd be neat to have the news headlines come out of Texas all the time, all the people from Tennessee and Oklahoma and Arkansas and all these other places that everyone always considers are friggin' hicks and friggin' in the sticks. Maybe somewhere out in the West Coast, all them Arizonas. It'd be real neat to have it all condensed right there in Texas. And we could just sit back and watch the fun. People line dancing and friggin' roping each other in the streets. Well, maybe we don't want people roping each other in the streets because you never know how that's going to go. Oh, why not? Public executions too, What the hell? You know what I mean? Hey, this was too good. I had to put on my cowboy hat. I went over to On the Issues to look at some of the hot button topics and what candidates talk about and stuff. And here's the list of what EuroAmericana Texas Utopia should be like. Okay? No abortions. No. Absence only. That's best. No public services. You don't need all that damn socialism. Private, police, fire, medical, mail. Privatization, boy! Let's see. No gun control. I said that earlier. People walk around with 6-shooters and their friggin' AKs and whatnot. Can't see no harm in that. As long as they're in the right hands. You know what I mean? Oh, no foreign products. Made in the USA. Now, hey, I really believe that. But for Texas, all the way. Why are they letting that globalization happen all the time? Let's see. Yeah, no legal aliens. No welfare. But how would you get them all there? Someone's got to be paying for something friggin' in that trailer courts, because there ain't going to be no real good jobs. Ain't going to be no Walmarts. So, that's it. church welfare. That's how you do it. You friggin' pay the friggin' churches to friggin' distribute the welfare money. Ain't that nice? Let's see. You know, you gotta have your demand side economics. Yeah, I might as well just read it right like this. Your export tariffs. You know, you gotta charge for everything going out of Texas. You know, of course, no public schools. You gotta have friggin' vouchers, you know, so you can have them good community-based schools. Well, I believe in public vouchers anyway, but I mean, no animal rights, you know. Shoot a chicken, eat a friggin' bury a dog, who cares? No environmental laws, because that's just a bunch of hippie hoo-ha anyway. Friggin' no positive liberties whatsoever. In other words, get rid of all them friggin' problems with friggin' all that stuff. You know, you don't need it. You know, just go by the Constitution as it was originally written. Repeal all that other stuff. Let's see. No abusive laws. You know, I mean, a man's got to be the man of his house. You know, if a woman gets out of line, there's a good way to fix the dishwasher. You know what I'm saying? Okay, but tough on drugs. You know, yeah, like drugs won't happen, you know. The church take care of that. Let's see. ROTC training for anyone in public school and private schools, if the curriculum wishes it. And I'm sure they'll be pretty hip to have friggin' a pro-military, you know. Oh, and the Patriot Act, private contractor internal security. Yeah, checkpoint at every stop by Blackwater. Woohoo! Oh, and Homeland Security, Minutemen brigades, all along the borders. You know? Ye-haw! There you go. That's how you handle a friggin' Texas, baby. Yee-hee! Alright. I'm goofing around, but I'd love to see it for real. I'd love to see just how it would or would not work. You know, we could probably take lessons from that. Because I bet you some of that would work. But we could reform it in a way that it actually be human. You know what I mean? They couldn't do it in Iraq. Maybe they could do it in Texas. Who knows? See ya.